Good morning. Welcome to Vibrant Authentic Living. This is Lemon Water in the Mornings with Nandi. It's Saturday morning. The sun is still not up though. We're having our little chat and we're going to have our lemon water feature. And there's something I've been thinking about for a while now. And the question is, if you were to be diagnosed today with a serious illness, how prepared would you be to undergo treatment to the point where you are cured? The costs of treatment, I'm talking about what I know, which is Jamaican prices, right? If you're elsewhere, you can chip in and let me know what the cost is in your neck of the woods. But I know for Jamaican prices, the prices that I have seen, and I'm going to share some of these prices, these costs with you. It is when someone is diagnosed with cancer or kidney disease, or they need some kind of hip replacement or anything like that. The cost alone is enough to send you into bankruptcy. And that's what we're going to talk about this morning. But of course, we're going to have our lemon water feature, and then we're going to come right back into the discussion. How many times have we heard of persons being diagnosed with one of the terminal illnesses or one of the chronic illnesses, and they ended up having to go start a GoFundMe account. They ended up having to be running from pillar to post, trying to get money to fund the treatment. And may I add that a lot of these diagnoses and the treatments that follow, they don't guarantee any cure for these ailments. They really are, in my opinion, just granting you a little more time. But for example, cancer treatment, most cancers, the treatment that is offered, there's only maybe a 6 to 10 to 15% survival rate after 5 years, right? So you can do your own research and see what is the survival rate beyond 5 years for most of these cancer treatments. And the typical cancer treatments would be chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. Now, you might have persons, I've known and seen and heard of a lot of persons who they worked their entire lives, they retired and, living off their pension or hoping to live off their pension almost as soon as they retire, or even before they retire, they are diagnosed with one of these illnesses, and just the cost of treatment is enough to make them bankrupt. Just the cost of treatment, trying to hold on to a little more of life. So we're going to look at the actual costs. And in my opinion, a lot of these costs that I'm going to be sharing with you now are not as severe as they could be, right? So to me, they're taming it down to give you these prices. So I'm quoting from Expat Focus. You can go on over there and check it out yourself on the internet. Expat Focus. So for office visit, just the office visit, just to go to get your checkup or to go, if you are diagnosed, you'd have to be making regular office visits. So each office visit is between 3,500 and 4,500 Jamaican dollars each time you go. That's just for the general visit, right? We're not talking about a specialist, which upon diagnosis you would have to see the specialist. So this is just for the general practitioner visit, right? 3,500 to 4,500. Even if your diagnosis is pregnancy, it could bankrupt you, believe it or not. If you are willing to go to a public hospital and willing to subject yourself to enormously long hours of waiting and very poor treatment, it's not going to cost as much, but then you pay in other ways. You pay in terms of your dignity. If you're going to a private hospital and you have to have an emergency C-section, that's from $230,000 up. 230,000 Jamaican dollars up. For a private room at one of the private hospitals is from $14,000 per day up. And semi-private, meaning you'll share your room with one other person, $1,500 per day. There was one hospital which was quoted as demanding a deposit of $75,000 to $160,000, depending on the condition. That means you have to pay that down. You have to show them that you have that there paid down before you are even admitted. They won't even start your treatment without you coming up with that 75,000 to 160,000 upfront. We all know that for cancer treatment, like I said, the three main types of cancer treatments available nowadays: chemo, radiation, and surgery. So still quoting from Expert Focus, chemo can cost $25,000 up per treatment. Per treatment, that means each time you go in on that day to get the session for chemo treatment, it's $25,000 up. For breast cancer treatment, $600,000 to $800,000 per breast per treatment. Per breast per treatment. For hip replacement, $400,000 up for the replacement joint. So that's just to buy the joint. And $300,000 for the surgery. And it could go as high as $1.2 million to $1.5 million. Now, the same site also went on to say that only 20% of Jamaicans have health insurance. Only 20% of us have health insurance, according to Expert Focus. And so most of us will end up having to pay out of pocket to have these procedures done. So clearly, for the majority of Jamaicans, this is out of reach. For cataract surgery, $1,500 US. $1,500 US, right? Now, I recently was watching a program on TVJ it was about Doreen Samuels, who had passed, our very beloved broadcaster. And her daughter was explaining the high cost of cancer treatment. Her mom, so Doreen, had pancreatic cancer. And she was saying, it cost the family up to $500,000 per treatment. And her mom had to go to treatment every 2 weeks. And this was for as many years since she got the diagnosis, which was a number of years, I think from 2017 until maybe two years from my memory, right? I could go back and check when Doreen passed, but she didn't pass long ago. $500,000 per treatment every 2 weeks, right? So you can just imagine the toll that took on the family. So you can go on TVJ's website and search for this little clip. It was just a little feature on Doreen Samuels. Her daughter was explaining to us the high cost of cancer treatment, right? I know some of it when you talk about kidney disease and the dialysis that has to follow. So remember, when you have kidney disease, especially end stage, your kidneys are not performing the function that they should to clean your blood. And so you have to be hooked up to the dialysis machine to clean your blood for you. This is something that must happen, or you're going to die, because the toxins, the waste matter, is going to accumulate in your blood, right? So dialysis, I remember my friend telling me when he was diagnosed, and I saw him few months after, and he was it was like decimated is the word I would use, right? It's just a fraction of the person who used to be. That's a toll that dialysis takes on the body, but it even takes a greater toll on the pocket, because he was telling me he had to fork out $12,000 every treatment. And this is at the public hospital, right? $12,000 every treatment. And you have to get the treatment 2 or 3 times per week. 2 or 3 times per week. So you can just imagine that this is at the public hospital now. When I went online, and you can do your own research to confirm or deny, right? I got the figure 350 to 450 US dollars per treatment. And the treatment lasts for 4 hours, and you typically have to go in 2 or 3 times per week to get your blood cleaned so that you can stay alive 2 to 3 days every week. $350,000, 350 US dollars to 450 US dollars. And the rationale given is that everything used in the dialysis procedure is imported into the island. Nothing that is used is made here, or so everything has to be brought in, and that's the rationale given for the fact that the costs are so high. Now, can you imagine your relative or even you have to be undergoing these treatments? And most persons who I know who have been on dialysis, they die very shortly. That's my experience. Most persons who I know who go through chemo, they die within the year or 2 years. That's my experience. I don't know what your experience has been. Officially, the survival rate for cancer, any cancer treatment, is 5 to 15% survival rate after 5 years. So you're going to be forking out this cash, and you're really not buying much time, right? So basically then you're going to, you live up to the point of the diagnosis, and then you become bankrupt, and then you die. And your family now has to be here and there and everywhere trying to raise funds to put you in the ground or to get you cremated, because it depletes all of your savings. It just depletes all of your savings. You are left with nothing. This is not the noble way to go. This is not the way any of us wants to go. My suggestion would be to try to be as healthy as possible for as long as possible. And based on my lifestyle and based on the lifestyle we promote on this channel, that involves eating as many fruits and veggies as possible, putting in some fasting, putting in some meditation, putting in some affirmations. Keep yourself healthy and hearty for as long as you can. Use your funds to travel, see the world, go and relax on the North Coast, chill out. Use your funds for that. Don't let your funds go down the drain and bankrupt you just before you go and put your family in crisis, right? Let your legacy remain, and while you live, use your funds to enjoy life and to preserve your health. Until tomorrow, when we have our lemon water feature again, this is Nandi, and I'll see you.